Hello YouTube, welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and we're going to go ahead and get started on the bandsaw and finish it up. And I think I found the perfect combination. So my parts came in, and I think it's about time for us to put this bandsaw to rest. As Minnie Pearl said, we're through playing now. So anyway, I've got something set up here that I wanted to kind of go over with you guys before we actually get started putting this on the bandsaw. But before I do, I wanted to take a moment and thank all my subscribers and let you guys know that I really appreciate all the comments, and here lately they've all been pretty positive. Although I did lose 6 subscribers over food. I hope they're not related, but as soon as I uploaded the donuts and the Bobby burger, I looked up 5 minutes later and I had lost 4, and then another 5 minutes I lost 2. I'm like, wow, people really must hate cooking. Machinists gotta eat too. But anyway, the Bobby burger was on my other channel and I deleted that channel, so I'm kind of trying to work some of those old videos into my new channel. My old channel was supposed to have been Bison Workshop, but I didn't really come up with the name until after I had started the channel. Well, I'd already had a lot of videos on there, and I wanted to move all my work over to the Bison Workshop. That way they're all contained into one big channel. And every once in a while I like to throw one in, and I thought, well, let me just go on and throw it in while I got it up. And just bear with me, guys. If you see an old one, no, I'm not picking up no weight. As you can see, I'm still the little toothpick that I've been. And I'm not gaining no weight, so you guys are seeing old videos if you see weight on me. I wish I could get back to the size I was. Maybe not as big, but you know, about halfway between. Hopefully after this surgery come Monday. Today is, hell, I don't even know what today is. It's a day. Today's Wednesday, so I've got less than a week before it's time for my surgery. I go in Monday. But anyway, enough of the rambling. All you new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. And if you ain't a subscriber, don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. Make a comment. And we'll do our best to bring you guys some stuff that's interesting. So with all that said, we'll get started. Alright guys, what we've got here is, I made this up because I was always needing to put things together to test these motors out and get everything working right. So I had a bunch of extra parts, and I went ahead and made a control panel with a mounting bracket so that I can mount my motor down to it. That way all I got to do is just plug my motor into it and be done with it. So first, I'm going to show you these 2 blue wires are a thermo switch. They're nothing. You don't need them. The only one you need is the red and the black. And what we've done, I've got a AC to AC controller. You have your in, you have your out, and I've run the in to a switch, And I'm a little disappointed in these switches because they got really small contacts, and I don't have that kind of a contact. As you can see, I've never seen one that small before, but it's 2 amp 250 volts, so I think they'll work good for this. But they got them little dinky ass connectors, so I'm probably going to solder wires to these and then put a heat shrink around it if I can find one big enough. And but anyway, I got it to where it works. It's on there. And so then I've got the out going over to the rectifier to the in, and it doesn't matter which way you got it because AC stands for alternating current, which means it jumps back and forth, negative, positive. And it doesn't matter which way you turn your red and black, just depends on which way you want it to go. So if you want this to run in the reverse, you just switch them. And I run this into it, the transformer, I guess that's what it's called, to smooth out the DC current. And here's what we got. On. There's no way in hell I will ever need that to go any faster than about right there. Alright, now if you remember correctly, when I was demonstrating the bandsaw, we had to turn this all the way back to 0 using the treadmill controller in order to get it to start back up. Well, that's a nuisance to me, so I decided that this was the route to go. Now, watch this. We don't have to do that. When I go to turn my bandsaw on, it's already ready. And it starts exactly where you put the potentiometer. Now, you can leave that where it's at, or you have the option to change it anytime you want. So we've got the setup. We got 4 components. We got the controller, which is AC to AC, AC in, AC out. AC out to the rectifier to turn it into DC volts. We got a switch in line, and we've got our, I'm going to call it a transformer. I'm sure you guys are going to correct me on that, and that's fine because I don't really know the correct name for this. It just looks like a transformer to me. So then we got our rectifier. Now I'll show you what we've got for part numbers. The rectifier is a KB PC 5010. So you got your AC, which is this one, and then across from it is the other AC. Then you've got your positive for the DC, which is also across from each other diagonally. So always remember, AC, DC. Alright, then we got the transformer, which is basically this. It's the same one that comes out of any treadmill, so if you ever come across a treadmill and you want to use one of these, I'm sure this comes in different stuff too. And then just a regular switch, which are, I don't think they have a part number on them. Yeah, this is Chinese bullshit, so it don't have no such thing as a part number on them. So it's just a regular switch. I would suggest getting one that's got the bigger ends on it. You can go to any auto parts store and you can get a 20 amp switch, and it'll have the big one on it. And that's probably what I'll do from now on. I didn't realize that had such small contacts. Now this here is also China made and no part number. So I'm going to put a link to everything in the description, and if I miss something, just let me know, guys. I'll do my best to help you out. So now we get started on putting it on the bandsaw. Now this will not be the setup. I'm going to leave this the way it is, because that way I can just put this up, and if I ever need to test another motor or something like that, I've got me a little control panel here that I can use to, or a test station, basically what you want to say, and we'll just write on here what everything is. That way anytime I test a motor, I can do it. So stay tuned. Alright guys, well, what we've done is I took the control panel back down and modified it to put the other system in it. And instead of trying to make it all into this to where if you was to move this it would move the whole thing, I decided to just go ahead. I don't see me getting rid of this thing anytime soon, so it don't really matter. And if somebody buys it, they're buying it the way it is. I don't care. I'm not going to do any changing around. So what I did the control panel up in behind there, and it looks exactly the way it did before. The only difference is it's got different components in it. But this time I made it with a pigtail. I found a wire that came out of a washer that had 6 plugs, or 6-pin plug. So we had a male and a female, and so I wired all this up to it, and then wired this down, and now we're getting ready to cut this to whatever length I want, but I want to reroute these wires. But before I do, I've just got it temporarily wired. I had to reverse the black and the red because I needed it to go in the opposite direction. It was easier to reverse it here than it was to reverse it up there at the rectifier, because I didn't want to unscrew that thing again. About the 20th time I've taken that thing down. So we're going to do a test here and show you this bad boy working with the switch. So I've got my potentiometer set for 1808. Can't hardly get 1725 or 1750 or whatever it was. So there we go. Now the one thing that I'm probably going to have to learn to live with is when this starts up, you'll notice that it speeds up momentarily and then it settles in. That I don't think I'm going to be able to do a daggone thing about. So you'll see. See what I mean? I don't know if it's because it's got a load on it to start with, because the belt's tight. I don't know, but if I go down with it, it shuts off. Now, it's really fast when it first starts, and I'm not sure why that's happening, but it's something I can live with. As long as it's not as long as it's not a something that's going to create a problem as far as mechanically creating a problem, I don't see where that's going to bother me too awful much. It just means that when it first starts up that it's going to have one heck of a draw, you know, as far as amps go. And you know, it's kind of fast to begin with, but then it settles down. I'm not sure what's causing that. But as far as I'm concerned, this is going to work just fine. So in order for me to, what I'm planning on doing here is we're going to take this plug back in the back here somewhere and bring it down to the outlet. And then this one here, we're going to have enough on it so that this will go up in its location. And as long as we got enough to go down, we know we're going to have enough to go up. So we're going to do it in the up position. But we also want to make sure that we're not in the way of when I go to use my homemade table. So that also will probably be pinned back here to the wall with enough slack to allow me to go up and down. So there you have it. Basically the only thing I've got to do now is do some wire policing, cable control, or whatever, however you want to put it. Other than that, the bandsaw is done. And I'll give you a second look here as to the motor and how I did it. You know, I got the chrome spacers with the bolts that hold that together. This is my slack adjuster to tighten the belt. And I got my flywheel on it so that it keeps the motor cool. And there it is. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and go over here to the right and hit the help button. All help is greatly appreciated. You guys have a good one. Later.